Welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel, everyone. This is Rich making another video on XRP today, as usual. So wherever you are in this vast planet, I hope you're all having a nice day today. We are going to discuss XRP. This is the one-day chart once more. Right now, the price is $3.23. It is Friday morning at 11:13 a.m. Additionally, the SEC litigation against Rippleverse has finally ended. Therefore, why isn't XRP trading at $5 or more already? That is what we will discuss in this video. However, this is the first time I've ever filmed a video without the Rippleverse SEC lawsuit still hanging over it, and it's wonderful to see that resolved. We've been waiting for this, but we haven't reached the finish line yet. For XRP holders, this is only one of several catalysts that will come to fruition in the upcoming months. However, I must say that it is an extremely exciting time to own XRP. Let's make it official first. Stuart Alderotti, the SEC and Ripple formally filed directly with the Second Circuit to drop their appeals after the Commission's vote today. The conclusion. Now let's go back to business. You see, this is quite legitimate. The amusing part is that many individuals on X are claiming that this revelation was a hoax and that it isn't true. Is it possible to ever feel joy for the XRP community? However, this is the reason I believe the industry isn't booming as we had anticipated. The next step in this SEC versus Ripple appeal case, according to Dr. XRP, is strictly procedural yet crucial before the judge may end the case. Joint filing of dismissal documents is the next stage of the procedure. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit must receive a formal joint stipulation of dismissal from the SEC and Ripple. This is not the same as merely agreeing in theory. The court requires the order, judicial review, and formal documentation. The appellate court may issue a formal order dismissing both the SEC's appeal and Ripple's cross-appeal after the combined dismissal is filed. This last phase brings the case to an administrative closure at the appeal level. The docket will indicate that the matter is closed. The settlement terms timeframe will be followed for any penalty payments such as the $125 million in escrow. The court has given both parties until August 15, 2025 to complete the dismissal filing or provide an update on the situation. The judge could complete the dismissal before that date if they submit earlier. The lawsuit is technically still pending in the market, and the official dismissal eliminates the last legal burden from the SEC litigation, which might be positive for XRP settlement. This is why it counts until the judge approves the dismissal order. That, in my opinion, is the reason why the big push-up hasn't happened yet, but it will. This coin is no longer constrained by anything. The case is finished. All we need to do is wait for the paperwork to be filed, after which everything will be dismissed. However, I currently believe that this type of approach offers the institutions the go-ahead to engage with XRP and Ripple. However, I believe that we will now be put on the path to recovery. I've stated it more than once. This Ripple against SEC litigation has been suppressing XRP for the past 4 or more years. It was off limits to major institutions, because they must first get everything out of the way. They will then begin to leak. Additionally, keep in mind that the Riddlers advised you to hold on to your XRP for the following 3 months after the litigation is over. It won't take 3 months, in my opinion. This is what I believe will occur. In my opinion, the price of XRP will gradually rise again, and this will take time. Recovery won't happen right now, but perhaps some of those NDAs will start to fall. That can also be really positive for the price of XRP. However, many people did anticipate this reversal because when the news initially breaks, everyone is thrilled and experiencing FOMO. I have to buy now. It's this. We've been waiting for this time. The whales suddenly begin to dump, and retail then begins to raise prices once more. However, I hope that we don't begin to fall too much, since I believe that this market is now moving. Ethereum has risen above $4,000. Later today or tomorrow, I will discuss that in further detail in a video. And given that we're approaching old season above $3, I believe we're about to enter it. That is simply amazing. No one anticipated that the price of XRP would even be where it is currently. Even though we're already so much higher, folks still think we should be sitting at 50 cents heading into the old season. However, there is not much time left for these pricing points. We used to watch XRP move back when it was just pennies. Over the next 2 or 3 days, it would move 1 whole penny. A few of you recall that period. The price would then abruptly drop by 2 cents. After that, it would increase by 3 cents. We're starting to use quarters and dimes now.
even by 50 cents on some days. Await the dollar to XRP movement. It will decrease by $1 or $2. Then it will suddenly move back up $3 or $4. That moment is undoubtedly approaching, and you must be present. It's kind of thrilling
right now, but as we watch these triggers play out one after another, it's going to get much more exciting.
Clarity from Washington will be the next major one, or perhaps the approval of the ETFs. The next catalyst will either be one or the other. Later this year, we begin to examine ISO as well. However, institutional adoption will take place concurrently. There are a lot of things in a small amount of time. For this reason, I believe that the price of XRP will be more shocking than most people anticipate. People continue to argue, look, the case ends, and XRP can't even get above $5 at this point. Yes, as the market is aware that it is only news until a judge approves it, and it is currently news. After that, I believe things will quickly shift, but it's good to see XRP up 6.19% for another green. And take a peek at who returned to join the celebration. Hogan, Jeremy. Recall that it sustained us for years during this lawsuit. He would describe what was happening each time something fell. He was also a huge help to the XRP community. It's good to see him return and rejoice. Alex Cobb adds that $4 will be the next full regulatory clarity. I believe that's our next destination. Everyone wants the next leg up to be $4.20 XRP. Additionally, if Ethereum keeps rising, it will probably bring us into alt season, just like it has in the past. However, I believe that XRP may be the one to lead this cycle if the judge makes the announcement as soon as possible, and perhaps another catalyst occurs for XRP. It would be amazing to see that occur. You all reached this point though, you know. I recall that investing in XRP in 22 felt hopeless. You really had to be extremely patient and unaffected by anything, since every time XRP hit 2 pennies, people were thrilled just to be disappointed. And this particular scenario was the worst aspect of it because it would result in positive news. You would assume that by the end of this month, everything would be resolved. Subsequently, there was still another delay, lasting roughly 3 to 6 months, which people endured. I persevered because I knew that we would eventually reach our current situation and that
$3.23 is insignificant in comparison to where we are heading.
By the end of this year, I predict that you will do well into double digits, probably into a range of 50 into $8. However, I believe that January will still see the biggest increase. For XRP, January 2026 will be the blow-off peak. By then, most individuals would have varying price forecasts depending on where we travel. People will say that we're going to spend more than $400. That's too conservative. Other people will think we will spend at least $1,000. But perhaps Jake Claver is correct if all the triggers materialize. Who knows, what with all the catalysts playing out. Perhaps XRP will reach $1,500. I'll be discussing an XRP simulator in a future video. Additionally, it demonstrates how simple it is for XRP to surpass $1,000 due to the market cap multiplier. Moving the price of this coin doesn't require a significant amount of money. By the end of this year, even the ETFs will have a significant impact on the price of XRP. They will probably be granted around September or October, in my opinion. And I believe that this market will undergo a permanent transformation at that point. It will be difficult to ignore XRP or even to propagate false information about it due to the large amount of institutional investment in the crypto